Hey dude, what's up? Evan from Stock Music Musician, and today I've got a first look at the really cool new synth Algoritm from Reason Studios, or Algoritm, if you want to be really hip about it. So this video, what I'm going to cover is first just play you some demos of Algoritm based on just the standard patches. Then I'll walk you through a little bit about what Algoritm does. And finally, at the very end, I'll talk about Reason Plus, is Algoritm worth it, and all of that stuff. But before we go farther, I do want to let you know that I've got a free mastering template for Reason 11. There's a link down below for you to grab it. It'll make your mixes and your masters sound so much better. I've set up a bunch of different things from multiband compression to subtractive EQ, coloring, stereo imaging, and a really smooth workflow. So go download that and let's get started listening to Algoritm after we hear the intro. Okay, so the way it's going to work is I'm just going to play a bunch of these things, and these are basically just tons of little bits of ideas I had instantly from playing Algoritm. What I will say is that it's very inspiring, and I thought it was a very fun synth to play around with. So let's listen, and I'll talk in between some of these sounds, but let's just get started with it. To me, that does a really nice, unpredictable bell sound there. Many bells, right? Kind of like a church bell thing. It does that FM sound really nicely. I don't know if I use that sound very much. That's not a sound I use that often, but I think it does that sound very well. Here's a brass section. Does it sound like real brass? No. But does it sound like FM brass? A little bit. Yeah, I could... That patch to me isn't super usable, at least not for the type of music I do. I think, I don't know, maybe if you're doing like 80s New Jack hip hop or, something like that, maybe. But that was a lesser tone. One of my least favorite of the patches, the stock patches. Some of them I didn't create anything with, but... I love this one. I mean, that sound is beautiful to me. It's warm, it's lush, it's got sort of these evolving little bits, but it's also full-bodied. As a stock music musician, as somebody that likes to, create simple background music that can then be licensed in a bunch of different tracks, that sound there is the sound of money hitting the bank. And like I said, I wrote that in 3 seconds. That was like, it plays like it should play, and it inspires you to keep playing with it. I'm definitely going to finish that song, which I just made for this demo. Tighten it up, loop it, add a few other elements, and upload it, because that's definitely a very licensable song. That's a nice enough sound. It's kind of maybe a cross between Rhodes and a Wurlitzer or something like that. I like it. I don't know that I would... I think I can get that sound elsewhere. I think it does that sound fine. That wasn't my favorite. This next one, though, was very cool. I guess you could call this R.I.P. Daft Punk. Reminds me of something they would use on the Tron soundtrack. So, that's a great choir sound. I like that one a lot. Next, let's check out the filter feedback pad. That's a cool soundscape there. That is like really fun, slightly unpredictable, but like I can't. When I was playing that, I originally had like only done the first part, and the second part kind of just like it felt right, and it's like giving you feedback and feeding back into itself in a way that sort of is very playable and very inspiring. I'll just play back that section again. Like, it just sort of felt like that's what it wanted to do, and it was leading me in that way, which I think is really cool. A lot of synths don't necessarily have a way they want to be played or patches, but this patch in particular, I think this synth generally actually has a very wants to be played, and it tells you how to play it, and you sort of adjust to that, and it feels more like an acoustic instrument to me, I think, than many of the other synths that Reason Studios has done. Just an arpeggio, but and that's the sort of soundscape that for music licensing, yeah, that's a good one. This next thing is just like one finger band stuff. There's a few patches like this. They're kind of cool. I don't know what I'd do with it, but start a dance club. Is it cool? Yeah, that's cool. But what do you do with that? I don't know. I mean, yeah, you could drop some drums and stuff, but why would I'm not the type of person that feels like I want that all on one instrument. I'd like having my bass on one, my arpeggio, another instrument, being able to control them separately. But is it cool? It's cool. And now you hear some of the low end stuff that some of these synths can do quite well. I was really happy with a lot of the sub sounds on this. That's definitely I feel actually like I would be more likely to use this saw shape lead patch for a bass than for a lead. Yeah, I felt much more inspired playing it down low. Next we've got, I don't know what it is. Oh, this is not one of those automatic things. I'm just holding down a chord here. Like, is that a very rich, lush, organic sound? Yes. To me, that one is actually very usable as a soundscape or, for a module part of a song. You could also resample that and start chopping it up or pitching it down, time stretching it, and I bet you get some really cool results. And again, it's just got this sort of uncontrollable analog organic feel to it, which I really like. I think we've all heard this bass before. You need an 80s hit. This is the bass you go to. I think Kenny Loggins probably made a fortune with that type of sound. a very cool sound, I think. I think both of those sounds are really good. I think there's often a somewhat justified feeling that many of the synths in Reason are plasticky, that they don't have a lot of vibe to them. And I do not think that is true of this one. This one definitely feels alive. It's got a lot of interesting components to it. Let's listen some more. I think this one, oh no, it's the next one that I really liked as well. I mean, this is nice, but... That's a usable sound. Something slower maybe, but I just love the complexity of it. There's sort of a sharp edge to it. There's a low rumble, and it sort of evolves around. This next one I really enjoyed. Bringing the 4 on the floor. If I could play, in time. Now, this is a great sounding pad. This is eminently usable for pop, for soundscapes, for scoring. I like that one a lot. For EDM. And this last one's kind of fun and weird. Let's take a listen. So there you have it. Those are some of the many sounds that you can get from Algoritm. And by and large, I really like them. I actually would say that of the synths in Reason, this might be one of the better ones available. To me, it feels more lifelike than anything else that I've used by Reason Studios. And it's unfortunate because it's only available either $99 as a standalone purchase or through a Reason Plus subscription. I'm not going to get into whether or not I think Reason Plus is a good idea or a bad idea in this video. I just want to address whether or not I think this is a $99 synth. Probably that's a little high, although that's the price of most of the stuff. But that seems a little high for any synth to me, just any standalone synth, when you can get something like, complete for several $100s, or when you've got some of the more advanced synths like, Serum or something for a little bit more, but that do a lot more. But this does the FM synthesis incredibly well, and if you like these sounds, I would certainly consider it. For me, I wouldn't consider buying anything from Reason Studios, though, until they announce what Reason 12 is and what's going to be included. I would definitely be concerned that this is the type of synth that could potentially be added to Reason 12 and the base case, and then, you wouldn't get a discount on anything. You'd be out extra money, basically. So I'd like to at least see what they announce for Reason 12 before I would recommend this as a purchase standalone. That said, would I recommend this synth? Yes, I would. I think this is a very good synth. I'd say it's a very, very good synth. So let's just take a new instance of Algoritm and make something from scratch, just real quick, so I can explain some of the features in it. Also, though, what I want to really, it's like part of the stock music musician mindset is just once you learn the systems in Reason, everything else makes sense. And having used Reason so long, it's very clear, what's going on here and how to take advantage of it, because like many of the things, Propellerhead software is very good at design, at creating very inviting and welcoming synths, and also having a design language to their synths where if you know how to use one synth and you know what you're doing, if you've learned the systems of reason, then you can just sort of pick up any synth and unlock much of its potential from the get-go, instead of having to relearn everything from scratch. And I love the interface of this. I love the look. So first so the main thing is you've got this operator, which is basically like an oscillator. You can choose the frequency, the ADSR curve, whether or not it follows the keys, how out of tune it is, its pan, its level, how velocity affects it, and the unique thing is the frequency. And like typical ADSR curves, you can just sort of bring this down. But that's the basics. Where it gets interesting is you can actually put these into each other. So we add another one, and you can see here this is where the routing is. So we've got this guy now, number 4, modulating number 1. And if we were to change the frequency, which is kind of how fast it's modulating it, and then the level will control how much modulation it's doing. But this is the only one that has an output, because the red is, you can click out basically, or you can draw it over here, but that controls the output. And then if we wanted, we can also, take this output here and run it through like a filter. So we'll turn the output off of the first one and drag it to the filter now. Sorry, wrong way. Nope. Undo. Let go. Cool. And that's what happens when you're left-handed and you try and do it the wrong way around. Why unclick when you can just use undo? So drag it from the output here to the top of the filter. And now operator 4 is modifying the first operator, which is then being sent through the filter. And we now need to activate the filter to be where everything is coming out of. And so we're filtering out everything at the moment. And so this is, a low pass filter. We can make it a high pass or band pass. Increase, have it envelope follow and be velocity sensitive if we wanted. And if we want to make it interesting, then we can actually have the LFO, for example, over here, LFO1, go to, this is unit 2, and we can have it control frequency 2 by X amount. And so now this is going to start sweeping the frequency automatically based on the shape of LFO1. And then we could even, run this through, or we could run some noise. We don't want to use this as an output, but we could we could use this. Yep, right now it was automatically routed into the low pass filter. So this will add some more variety. can control the amount of feedback. Although we don't have any right now, but what we could do is we could also have, let's say, this the first one feeding back into the one that operates into it, the first operator into the second operator, which will create like that sort of sense. There's also shapers, which are like kind of amplifiers of sorts. We can turn on the unison here. And you got a ton of effects down here, from multiple types of distortion to resonators, which are kind of cool. I feel like they're borrowing this from friction, which is a great idea. So let's like put on some. Delay. This is a very fancy looking and beautiful delay, kind of modeled over the echo. I hope this is a preview of a new design aesthetic coming to Reason 12, where everything is sort of all synchronized and unified like this. But hey, what do I know? We got phasers, flangers, choruses. If you got some nice speakers, you heard some rumble there. I pushed a low note. This thing really has some low-end rumble to it. So anyway, that's a basic overview of how you use Algoritm and a lot of the different sounds, how easy it is to get up and running with it. Don't be fooled into thinking that frequency modulation is too scary. I don't fully understand what's going on here, but I know enough to make nice sounds. And so I would definitely recommend you check this out, see how it fits in. Either try the demo of it, try the trial of Reason Plus, or, let's wait till Reason 12 comes out and see what it includes. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to go down and get your free mastering template. And also, I would hate for you to leave without giving a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Thanks, and keep on rocking.